come up and ask questions. I think it's Brian, what you said, 3 minutes? Yeah, three minute time limit. Guys, this is one of the most important things. We want to make sure we be respectful. This is not an opportunity to come up and bag somebody and, call them out their name and all that type of stuff. If you want to do that, make an appointment to see them. And then do it then. But this is not the place for that. Please make an appointment to see them. But again, tonight we hope that you will get a lot of information tonight. Hopefully that you will get your questions answered tonight. And we hope you have a lot of fun tonight. Great. I don't know if you can see that, but recently the Board of Commissioners passed the budget without raising the millage rate, which will benefit Newton County residents with a strong public safety presence. The budget included 31 public safety positions and gave us tools to retain our current employees. So we're excited about that. We're ready to put more deputies and firefighters out there on the road, so we're excited about that. Thank you, sir. Infrastructure. We are working hard to make sure Newton County infrastructure is strong through our public works, water resource, and development service department. We repaired and resurfaced 22 miles of roads, all with in-house crew. We reduced business, 1.8 million spent for various sources on road work, impact fees to entice more business to come to our community. We was awarded the GFA loan to begin a $23 million improvement in our water infrastructure. So we're excited about that. Our landfill reclamation project is on the way with an extraordinary project to ensure that Newton County natural resources around the landfill stay protected. Newton County is one of only three of the states, 100 landfills to go forward with this type of project. And a lot of you know, we just dedicated our judicial center. And it was a little bit over 1,000 people that we estimate that it was, and it was a good day for our community to actually see the splash dollars at work. So we were excited about that as well. Also, our community resource center, we just cut the ribbon on that. As a resource center, it's a center that offer our citizens an opportunity to bring their kids there and get different things, get different programs going for them. So we're excited about we got that going in the community as well. And all of you know about Facebook is down on the other end of Newton County, Stanton Springs, and they are moving right along. They're ahead of pace. Actually, right now they have 1,000 jobs, construction jobs out there. So if you know somebody that needs some work, send them that way. Gators Wildlife Management Area. A lot of you, I don't know if a lot of you know it, but we did do a lease agreement with the DNR for 2,129 acres of land. We're going to do 2 regular deer quarters hunts there and 1 youth deer quarter hunt there as well. So that'll be good something for our community and communities around for people to come out and see what Newton County has to offer. Family Fun Day. Family Fun Day last year was a great success, and we're in the process of starting to put another one together. And so we'll be looking to do that pretty soon here, and you'll hear all about it. We'll get the information out there, and hopefully we'll get a great success again. And so we feel like the future is bright for Newton County. There's a lot of splash projects that's getting ready to come aboard. The senior center expansion is getting ready in the near future to get ready to take course. The new animal control building, the fire station at the north end of the county, the Boys and Girls Club, and several parks as well as getting ready to go forth in our community. So there's a lot of things going on. We're excited about it. And so we hope you have a lot of questions tonight. I hope we can get them answered for you tonight. Next, we're going to bring up the sheriff. He's going to give you a quick overview. Please hold your questions until you get done. You'll be up here for about 10 minutes, and then following him, the fire chief will come up for about 10 minutes, and then we'll get the questions on the way. Sheriff, you there, Bryce? Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I'll say this to all of you, good evening, and let's not make an appointment for me to fight. I will fight fair. Mr. Chair, for those of you that are here this evening, I'll be real brief with this. I came prepared to do something else entirely different, but just an overview of our agency. And Brian, I'll get you to just flick through it. Who we are and what we do. We're full service, 24-hour operation, 7 days a week. Move forward. We have more than 19 divisions. We'll talk about those 19 divisions. That's uniform division, and everybody knows what that responsibility is. We have criminal investigation division. We have court service division. We have civil division. We have special investigation division. We have a K-9 division. We have detention division, warrant division, special response team division. We have SWAT division, sex offenders. And just while you're there, sex offenders, that is a mandate where it's funded totally by the taxpayers. We have almost 300 sex offenders here in the county. Back when I was doing sex offenders in 2005, we had 65. So to tell you how many we have today, we have really increased the number. Office of Professional Standards. Office of Professional Standards, and also School Resource. School Resource, we have somewhere in the neighborhood of 20 officers assigned to School Resource Division. We are responsible for more than 19,000 kids each and every day. I think, as a matter of fact, I think it's 19,772 that we are responsible for. Our Champs Division, is a great division. I think it's doing wonderful things, marvelous things here in our community. I think it has redirected many of our youth here in this community. It's a great program, and it's funded by drug funds. It's not funded by your tax dollars. Community involvement. I think this is our back to school event. This is a special event to me because one of the things that we do, along with many others, and these are funds here that are primarily donated by many vendors here in the community and private citizens just like you. This past year, I think we serviced more than 5,000 youth, made them ready for school on the first day. And to tell you a little bit more about the Back to School project, it's more than just giving books. It's more than just giving out pencils. It's about having them school ready. They get haircuts. They get any type of service that is required through health care. It is all taken care of on that particular day. We participate in the Thanksgiving dinner for the homeless each and every year. We feed over 1,000 with donations. Also, community involvement is the toy ride. Toy ride, we serviced more than 200 families this past year with more than 644 children. And all of that is by donations from operations and citizens just like you. Also, other community involvements. I think Commissioner Schultz was involved in this. We pick various locations within the community, and our deputies will volunteer and go out and pick up trash and make our communities clean and healthy. Here is where we received our national accreditation. We are among some of the finest in the world. There's only 42 other agencies in the United States of America that hold the certifications that we hold. And that was awarded to us on, I believe, last year out in Arizona somewhere. But anyway, just to talk about the calls for service, we noticed that our call for service are down tremendously. When you look at the calls for services, we had over 70,000 back in 2015. I would think that we're going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of 60,000 this year, and the officers are doing great things, but it's also those community involvement programs that we're involved in, going into the communities, getting the citizens to believe in the office of sheriff each and every day. If you notice our homicides are down tremendously. In 2015, I think we had a total of 9. In 2015, now currently we have 3. And I award that again to the citizens of the county who believe in the office of sheriff and our presence in the community, making them aware of good morals. And also I would attribute that to some of the programs that we have in the jail. We have reentry programs, and these reentry programs are really doing great things in the jail. Also, our 2018 stats are down when you look at crime against persons. They're down tremendously. Burglaries, they are down compared to 2017. Look like we're somewhere in the neighborhood of 300. Internautos, that is a crime of opportunity, and that's something that we're really working on, and I think that's something that we're going to be faced with problems from now on. Okay, motor vehicle theft is another one. That's another crime of opportunity, and that's something there that we're working with the public in terms of what to do in order to secure your motor vehicle, but it's very little when you look at that from a whole. But when we talk about those things, budgetary, we want to thank the Board of Commissioners for what they have allowed the Sheriff's Office in terms of budget this year. Currently, we were awarded a total of 9 positions in the detention center, which 4 is BLOs, that's detention officers, 2 administrations, 2 deputy sheriffs, and 1 ACA coordinator. That coordinator will help us maintain our accreditation and stay on top of all of our standards. Right now, we're utilizing one of the lieutenants who are performing day-to-day operations as well as doing the standards for maintaining the ACA. Also, when you look at the detention center currently, the current pay right now is $13.57 per hour under the new plan. Hopefully, Lord will be able to, and the board will be able to get up to $15.65. Now, one of the kickers for this is we have 8 weeks of training for DOs, which 2 weeks are down at the site, and we have 6 weeks of just field operations. And with that said, it takes time to get them out and have them ready. For law enforcement services, we were allotted 10 positions to include 8 deputy sheriffs, 1 communication specialist, 1 corporal. We currently we had 20 law enforcement positions, that's including the one that you all allowed us. So that's included 20 vacancies. But out of that 20, we have 6 that are in school. Now, out of the 6 that are in school, it takes us somewhere between 26 and 27 weeks to have them road ready. That means being able to go out on the streets and perfect their duties and all at the best. Currently, that pay is at $14.93 an hour, and our new plan, we're hoping to start each and every last one of them at $17 an hour. I think $17 an hour will put us competitive with the surrounding counties as well as the local municipalities here. We are excited. We're still working on our West Side precinct. We're hoping that we will have the West Side precinct up and going. My goal is to have it hopefully by the first of the year. That's my goal. It's going to take a lot of work, but work is what we are up to. And with that said, I am finished and have nothing else.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Sorry to rush through it.
No,
You said 10 minutes.
that means if we have time for questions. Next we have Fire Chief, Mr. Carter, please.
All right, kind of like the sheriff, have different program plan and got here and said, cut it down. So we're going to kind of run through some of the things that this current board has assisted the fire service in obtaining this year. Pretty much, we went back 4 years on our statistics. And this is just the population that you see keeps increasing. And actually, with the 5,000 in that 4-year period, I think it's gone up a little bit more this year. I think we're around 107,000, 108,000. But as people increase, the demands on our department increase because we're answering more calls. Next one, Brian. These are our call volumes. Again, we went back 4 years. You can see the dramatic increase in 2017. We increased nearly 2,000 calls from the previous year. If you want to go on to the next one, Brian. Right now, we're on trend to actually break those calls this year. Currently, we answer between 600 and 800 calls a month. A lot of it is to do with increased types of calls we run. We're not just running fire calls anymore. It's fire, EMS, homeowner assist, accident scenes. So we're answering a whole lot more types of calls. So we're seeing a dramatic increase. Currently, we're probably exceed 2017 numbers. Probably our estimation is about like the 2015 and 2000 additional calls this year over last year. One of the things that this current board did do was they actually approved 22 positions for the fire department. And this is kind of how they're broke down. A lot of them are for the new station that the chairman talked about, which is Station 8, which we've actually got land purchased now and getting ready to hopefully meet with the contractor to design, build, and get that fire station, which was approved in 2011, squashed out of the ground. Technically, 3 officers for Station 8, 6 fire apparatus operators. Now, this will not only be for the drivers that will drive the engine at Station 8, but this current board also agreed to purchase a new tender, which is a tanker, which will help us serve a lot of areas in the county that have no water or not a good supply. So hopefully it will help us on our ISO ratings too. And then there's 12 new firefighting positions. 6 of them will be going to Station 8, and 6 of them will be hired for the new tender. And they also approved the MS coordinator or instructor. Since we are actually running more and more EMS calls, the board approved this position. Now we have an in-house instructor. It keeps us, our people who are certified, we can actually keep their certification up. But as all new employees are coming in, the board wanted us to train them as EMTs. And now we're currently able to obtain that in-house due to the board approving that position. Some of these are kind of goes back. Some of the things that they've actually done was they approved and purchased, which is on order, the 4,000-gallon tender. Also, they approved the purchase of new thermal imaging cameras, which we had 2 in the whole department. Now we have 1 on every front line of piece of equipment, and we also have 3 assigned to training. These are cameras. They assist us in doing our jobs. If we go in a pitch black situation due to smoke conditions, these thermal imagers pick up infrared heat, so we can actually see people laying in a house where we were having before. Go through and just physically search every inch. We can now take these cameras and go in and scan a room and hopefully find people who are down in a structure fire. In the 2018 budget, we did finally purchase 4 acres of land out on Gum Creek Road, just north of Gum Creek Landing. This location was strategically located and plotted because we're trying to touch as many residents as we can for ISO insurance ratings. And this gets a lot of people in the north end of the county, Highway 138, Deer Trail, High Tower Trail, Old Highway 138, Kent Rock Road, that had never been within 5 road miles of the fire station. So that was the reason when I came in, I got with the county manager and said that the current location was not a place for it. So he worked with the board and we did purchase 4 acres, and we're moving forward with that. And the 2017 splosh, we had enough money allocated to buy 2 replacement vehicles. The board voted, I think, last month, we went ahead and buy 1. And Danny's gonna help us greatly because we have an aging fleet. A lot of people might not realize it, but fire apparatus has a lifespan of 20 years. We're running some 20 and 22-year-old trucks still on the street. So, with these splosh funds, that you voted on, we're hopefully gonna get 2 new apparatus. 1 is on order. The other one, we're hoping that, we'll be able to, get on order very soon. With, the new people coming in, so far we've actually put on 2 recruit classes, and we've added about 15 people to the rank and file of our department now, and we actually have a 3rd class going on now, and it has 12 people in it, so we're actively recruiting, and right now we still have 21 vacancies, and probably after the first year, we're going to open it back up and try to fill those 22 vacancies. We put on 2 in-house EMT classes, and it's pretty much the last 2 recruit classes. So it's saving us money. We're not having to contract outside with this EMT instructor. We can do it all in-house. Board also approved, we've not had a training officer in the fire department. We had somebody kind of temporarily fill it in the spot, but they actually approved the position. And we now have a training officer for the fire department. And this gentleman now, started a recruit class today, but he also keeps up the certification on the 70 other firefighters that are in suppression today. And with a lot of the positions that we've got, there are some promotional advancement within the department. There were some officer positions approved as these new positions were requested, and it's been kind of a shot in the arm for our guys because now they can see advancement in the department, so they're working to better their careers to get these positions. And that is pretty much it in a nutshell, so I hope I didn't run over 10 minutes there, Chairman.
You did really well. Thank you, sir. Now we're going to start. Everybody know who Sheriff Xavier Brown is? Well, let me ask you this, because I just did a leadership meeting class, and man, it's crazy. Do everybody know what district you live in?
Yes.
Everybody do? Yes? Okay, cool. Now you laughing, but I asked that leadership mutiny. Half the class to know what district they live in. So we got our District 5 Commissioner, which is Ronnie Cowell. Our District 3 Commissioner, which is Nancy Schultz. We got our County Manager, which is Lloyd Kerr. We have our District 4 Commissioner, which is J.C. Henderson. We have our District 1 Commissioner, which is Stan Evans. And so tonight, we're getting ready to get started here. If you want to ask just a broad question, you can. Or if you want to ask a commissioner directly, you can. So we want to be first tonight. Ms. Moore.
Okay. I know that you all are still involved in strategic planning for the county, and you may have identified a lot of the issues that I want to ask about, and maybe have plans already to address them. But I'm interested in the things that you think are going to impede our positive growth going forward. And again, you're probably trying to address those in your strategic planning. But do you see that things like racial issues and division will hold us back? Education and job preparation, was that going to impede some of our forward progress? Housing, increased development standards, voter participation, county versus municipal cooperation, the debt from the solid waste management issue. What are some of the things that you're trying to address going forward that will keep us from not reaching our full potential?
Wow. Let Commissioner Schultz take that question. No. I said wow. The reason I said wow because it sounds like you've been in all meetings.
She has.
It sounds like
So, That's exactly what we're tackling.
I mean, exactly.
I mean, exactly every one of those points. And I will say that, Chairman Baines and, Commissioner Cowan and I are in strategic planning meetings every other week for up to 8 hours, plus the three of us are also on the Solid Waste Authority. And so in terms of your question regarding the debt, that is something that we have to deal with. But the good news is we had a stakeholder assessment about a year ago, and the stakeholders of the county in all different types of groups, focus groups, identified those questions. And so we've been taking that stakeholder assessment, and we've been going down point by point. We have strategies, we have a 3-year plan, and we hope to roll all of that out in January, along with aligning all the other strategic plans that are in the county, so that we're all moving forward as one Newton to address your concern about divisions. Somebody else want to take that?
Barbara, it's strange that you asked that question. I was downtown Covington today, and I was approached by someone with the very same question, and probably not even involved in any of the meetings or anything that you're having to do with. But one of the things that I said to this particular person, and it stands true each and every day with the Office of Sheriff: truth is a nugget to trust. Truth is a nugget to trust. And one of the things that we have to do as leaders, and not just myself, but each and every last one of us have to speak the truth. Then the public will begin to trust all of us. The person that I was speaking with today spoke, I say this because of the compliment of the Office of Sheriff. There was someone totally away from Newton County, ran into this individual and said that I am amazed about the Office of Sheriff, the police department, how they interact with each other. But not only interacting with each other is the fact of diversity. They never imagined diversity in a city like Covington. And I went on to share with this person. But to go on to say this, the Office of Sheriff, we have moved forward. By 2021, we're developing plans now how we are going to approach the community, how we are going to indigenize ourselves in the community. And I think it's an example of some of the stats that you notice where the homicides are down, some of the stats where the crime against persons are down, because each and every day we make it our business to make sure that we treat every citizen the way they should be treated. I teach each and every last one of my officers to be honest. Again, I teach them truth. The nugget. And I think if all of us would just adopt that particular piece, I think we all will be much better in the future. But I'll work with you on any racial divides.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ms. Morgan, I can address personally a portion of your question in terms of housing and what we're doing to ensure our standards are where they need to be. And I think you'll find, unless I'm badly mistaken, I think you'll find at our next meeting you'll see a very positive step in some of the multifamily developments on unincorporated Newton County. We're going to take a positive step at the next meeting, I hope, in addressing our standards in that particular area. I know that the strategic plan is being assembled and has quite a bit of total stakeholder input. So, and those were some of the things we heard about. The things you mentioned were, at the forefront, and you've heard one or two of those addressed now. Our overall building standards, we're trying to improve those as we speak. That's a work in progress, And I can promise you that all the commissioners have expressed to Ms. Judy and to Lloyd a sense of urgency in terms of our building standards and what we want to see in Newton County going forward.
Well, first off, thank you, Steve. But you know what I think about is what we started a long time ago is transparency. In other words, when we have meetings such as solid waste authority, planning and zone, they should be public. It should be where you can tune in and see what's being said, how much money is on the table. And then once the money is on the table, then you may ask, well, how is it being spent? Or what is being spent on? Or how are we as taxpayers, how is it going to be reimbursed back to us as in terms of our taxes? In other words, most enterprise funds, such as the solid waste, other ones that I can't think of it offhand, the citizens, us, we have contributed to them. And once they like water sewer authority, and once they become big business, when will they reimburse some of that money back to take a little bit of the burden off of the taxpayers? And then, it's just as I said just a few minutes ago, I mean, let's be transparent. Let's put those on Facebook, on TV, or whatever we got it on, so you can see the meeting and see how the money is being spent. Because we know that sometimes we may vote in terms of giving money. I think in solid waste started like about $10 million to give it to them. But how is it being spent? Who are we reporting to? Who are you accountable to? So you have to be accountable to the people on which we serve. And so it's transparency and everything. And for the diversity, it's the old Bible saying, treat your neighbor, treat the next person the way you want to be treated. And if we can do that, hey, I'm telling you, there will be no diversity at all. And so that's what I think in terms of what it's all about. You know, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I think Commissioner Schultz and some of the other commissioners have already detailed out our strategic plan, but everything that you identified this morning is being assessed as a need for the community. We're putting those in categories, and then we're developing strategies to address those needs, so that all the work that everybody put into giving us feedback on what they liked about the county, what they didn't like about the county. We've taken that, made an assessment of it, and we'll be developing strategies on how to deal with that. And the strategic plan will actually govern a lot of our budget decisions and other decisions that we make as a board.
Thank you. Like I said, that was an awesome question. It was like you've been in all our meetings. I hadn't seen you that, so that's pretty good. Yes, ma'am. Next.
Thank you. I just found out I ran in District 4. I've been new to Newton, I'm new to Newton County for 5 years. I used to be in DeKalb, so I'm retired now. And I'm getting more involved in the community, such as going to the district meetings and finding out what Newton County is about. I did just find out I live in District 4. So I've been more involved with the Democratic office campaign. So I really got to know Newton County. And I was even called for jury duty, which I was real pleased with. So I heard a lot of things that I'm truly interested in. And one of them is housing, especially for senior citizens. I see a lot of development going along Clark Street, up by the STEAM school. I haven't remembered that street name yet, but I have noticed a lot of housing development, but is there anything going on for affordable housing, especially for seniors? I walk a lot in Turner Lake, and I noticed that the pavilion, who's responsible for making sure those repairs are going to be done this year or the following year, because it still needs a lot of repairs. So I'm learning slowly where all of these come from, but my main concern is housing, affordable housing. especially for us retired people. Thank you.
I think I can take that one, and at least give you a little bit of insight. The area you're talking about is inside the city limits, and so all of that development really is reviewed and approved through the city of Covington. But as far as in the unincorporated part of the county, we are currently reviewing all of our zoning regulations, and affordable housing is always a topic, and it's something that we do look at. There are some developers who are also looking to the county to provide for senior housing. There's several communities that have been built in the recent past that were geared towards 55 and older, and active senior type communities. And those I know will continue Newton County will continue to be attractive for that type of development because of the fact that we are attracting so many retirees, not just from metropolitan Atlanta, where you're from, but also we have quite a number of people who moved down here from Chicago, the New York area, Boston, all those, the Yankee Land areas, because you can do so much more here with your dollar than you can in those areas. So we're continually looking at that. We're looking at things, at other trends too in housing, such as tiny homes. Is that right for the county? Is it not? If that happens, what type of regulations need to be in place? And we're looking at other communities as well to help get some guidance on how we can do those. So it is an ever-present concern, and looking at how that we can help to facilitate those developments.
Okay, thank you.
Sir? Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, thank you, Chairman. The Recreation Department will be preparing that. They do have SPOS money now that has been budgeted for those repairs. And also there's general fund money that will be, that they can put towards those repairs. So we hope to get those done here within the next several months.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. We also have a habitat. It's a plan that we have written in. There's a part of Covington that's for habitats for people who homes. And in fact, I was just speaking with the young lady, and her name kind of just passed by me. But I was speaking with her, and I know exactly where her office is at. And there are a few habitat homes that are available if people who would apply for them may be able to get those particular homes. But that's definitely a plan that we need. Senior housing, affordable senior housing. Not the ones where I was off the access road, $200,000 a year. Man, I said, man, what kind of retirement one have to have in order to stay in one of those rooms? People take care of you when you become of age. And I'm part of the aging group, probably need something. But make a long story short, I think those are the type of plans that we as a county need to invest in for our citizens. And I understand that we can invest in the cities, like in Covington or in the town of Oxford, but in the unincorporated area, I think we should take a good look at possibly some grants, asking our representatives and people of that nature if they could help us in finding a grant to start that type of affordable housing for our citizens.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else? Yes, ma'am.
My name is Shirley Reese. I'm a member of the Turner Lake Senior Citizen Play here. This question is not so much for me, but they found out I was going to be here tonight. One thing that we always have on the table whenever we have surveys and things, that a lot of people have moved here from the north and other places, and to leave their children after they retire, or the children don't want them up there and bring them down here. And usually, if they're not coming out here for a little while, they're at home by themselves, and they have public transportation. They're used to being somewhere where they walk out the door, catch a bus, go over here and there. And I guess they didn't do the homework of children and tell them, but they come here, and that's their biggest complaint is they can't get out of their houses, sometimes go to the grocery store, or if they have a doctor appointment. The children are working. So they always bring that question up about, will there ever be transportation for seniors to be transported to places they need to go?
That's a good question.
Thank you. Actually, the county is currently working with the Atlanta Regional Commission to do a comprehensive transit study of Newton County. And this study will not only look at seniors, but it will look at the population as a whole. What the goal of this study is to determine, one, whether it's feasible to have a transit system, and then two, what kind of funding would we need? Three, where would we get that funding? And then would also be a plan for implementation. A plan for implementation of that. Currently, there are federal funds, or it is federal funds, federal highway and federal transit administration funding available to fund some of the infrastructure. What is always difficult is to pay for the maintenance and upkeep. Certain types of funding will allow us to do that. For instance, you may have heard us talk a little bit about last year about a T-SPLOST. T-SPLOST funds is a SPLOST and where all of the money goes to transit or transportation related projects only. A T-SPLOST would allow us to do the very same thing as a standard SPLOST, which would be to put in place an extra penny tax for 5 years to fund the infrastructure projects that would be related to that. Now there's a variant on that called the ATL SPLOST, which would allow us to actually have a SPLOST. We would have to petition to become a part of the, under the government, or associated with the Atlanta Regional Commission in a particular way. Would not necessarily, does not mean that we would be ruled by Atlanta, but what it would allow us to do is open up this source of funding to us, which allows for a longer period of time for the SPLOST money to be collected. But most importantly, it allows those funds to be used for maintenance and operations. And that would be a big key. But this study will help to tell us what the ridership might be, what the routing might be, whether it should be a fixed route, which is the thing we get on, fixed bus stops, or an on-demand, or would it be a hybrid of the two of those? Typically in counties like ours, where we have a very densely populated urban portion of the county, and then we have very rural areas, your on-demand, a mixture of those, on-demand and a fixed route system, tend to work well. Then there's funding for separate funding sources for each of those. So that should be completed within the next 8 to 12 months, and then we'll have those, all of those findings, and we'll be able to present those to the commission and of course to the citizens, and we'll move from there.
Anyone else? Yes, ma'am. Okay, we want to give it, yeah. Come on, Mr. Morgan. Well, Mr. Morgan. Mr. Morgan. Mr. Morgan. That's Mr. Morgan. Anyway. It's a city council.
Yes, good evening, Chairman, Commissioners. My question would be, first of all, I would like to ask the Sheriff, the Westwater precinct that you're talking about putting in place, where actually will it be located?
In the Salem Road area. It's going to be close. Off Salem Road, it's going to be across from the current West Side precinct. The Kroger Shopping Center.
Okay. All right. And also, while I'm here, I wanted to ask a question to the Chairman and the Board of Commissioners. In moving forward, I think it will be real productive for our city and our county as a whole. I don't know whether this has ever transpired or taken place, but I think it would be good if we would have joint meetings at some point in the future, where we could actually come together and put together and really strategize what's best for the city and county as a whole. I understand we have our separate meetings, but in order for us to be really effective the way we need to be, I think that at some point we need to get together in the same place, in the same room, and really put together a comprehensive plan that will be feasible for everybody. So that's something that I would like to ask as we move forward, that at some point that we would have city council and county commissioners joint meetings where we could actually really be productive for the citizens of Covington and Union County. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. It seems like y'all are in all our strategic planning meetings. I don't understand it. I guess the boss is doing a heck of a job. It's crazy. But right now we have a group called Newton County Tomorrow. And right now it's the mayors, chairman, some school superintendent, and a few more people, community leaders, that we all strategize and do things like that. Right now we're in the talks of making it broader and bringing in the councilors as well as the commissioners. So hopefully that will be coming in the near future. So good deal, yeah. And y'all on top of it. Yes, sir.
Thank you, City. You know, as far as the City of Covington, there's two commissioners who represent the City of Covington. Half of the City of Covington is represented by myself, District 4, and the other head is Ron Calvin. So I would hope that when there's a conversation, and especially in that area, that you would include both of the commissioners, or at least one of the commissioners who represent the people as far as they come out and hope to select whomever is going to be their leader for the next 4 years. And so let us not forget that. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Well, in actuality, it's going to be, what we're trying to do, we're trying to combine all the council members in Oxford, all the cities, and the county as well, to bring everybody together to see can we collaborate like that. So it won't be any particular commissioner, it'll be everybody, and hopefully we can make that happen. Again, that's a great question. Anyone? Yes, ma'am.
This question, I'm Sarah Dobie. I live in the tip of District 1. This is a very limited scope, and this is for the sheriff. In terms of staffing, is it possible to apply for grants and have them be for the purpose of staffing a particular position, with the person taking that position knowing that it's dependent upon the grant and how long the grant lasts?
Yes, great question, and that's something I omitted earlier. Each and every year, we award somewhere in the neighborhood of $743,000 to $1 million a year. So many of the positions that we currently hold, and particularly back when we was going through the downturn, we had more than 8 positions that was funded every 3 years by grant funds. As a matter of fact, in 2010, if I'm not mistaken, we happened to be one of the 2 officers sheriffs who received grants in the state of Georgia for employees. And I think only the other would have been Martyr, I believe. But we constantly go after grants, and so far we've been pretty good at achieving those grants.
Thank you. Good morning.
This is perhaps more of a statement than a question, and that is in regards to the 278 East Corridor from the Alcovy River down to Stanton Springs, where we've got billions of dollars of investment going in right now. That is a largely undeveloped corridor. It represents a great potential for us to do quality development out there in the way of retail, commercial, and housing, whether it's multifamily or single family. And I just want to know, I believe I know, that you all are putting a priority on that, because that could be the legacy for this county to do that right. Everybody acknowledges that a lot was not done right on the west side of the county, but we've got potential out there to do it right. And in full transparency, my family has property out there that we would like to see as a toehold for some quality development out that way. But it's a real potential for us, and I want to make sure and hope and believe that you're working on it.
We are, let Commissioner Edwards, I see he was panning speak, so I know you want to talk.
I hope you don't mind if I stay seated. It's not a requirement I stand up, is it? Thank you, Ms. Boyd, for that question. I have conversations with Ms. Johnson and constituents almost daily over the concerns of that particular corridor as it extends from basically the river to Stanton Springs. And my priority is that we hold ourselves to a higher standard in terms of the development of that area. I know quite a few of the landowners out there. I know quite a few of the residents that are not large landowners out there, and I hear them loudly and very clearly on what they want out there. Now, that said, we have the hub overlay in place, and the other one escapes me. The brick store overlay and the church. There are two different overlays out there that ensure quality development in that particular intersection and corridor. Now, Ms. Judy and I have had conversations about, and even some with members of the chamber, about, do we want to replicate some of that further towards Stanton Springs? We want to replicate some of that back up the 278 corridor. We don't know. Don't know yet. And there are concerns with some of those policies or some of those conditions are too stringent out there. I don't think they are, but there are people that believe that. There are people that believe that any desired development is going to jump right over that intersection. And I know your concern. I know where your concern is. I know where your piece of property is, and from the river. I'm hoping that the 278, the construction of the 278 I'm trying to envision it as I drive through it every day. It just seems so nice as to what they're going to be able to do there at some point, providing they give you access to turn in your driveway. But that is, rest assured, that is my district. That is a priority, and I hope I feel like the rest of the board understands that we need to be tread lightly when we go to develop that, when we start to develop that corridor. And there's a subdivision down there that is kicked back open just past Deerfield on your left down there. That development has started back in that particular subdivision. So, but there's lots of underdeveloped or undeveloped land even beyond that, around the big curve and the straightaway toward the hub. And I understand that one of the large landowners within the overlay there are two large landowners in that overlay that I know of that have designated some of their property to green space banks, if I'm not mistaken. Or if they haven't, they're going to, which means that property can never be developed. So that's kind of what we're looking at out there now. But I believe I have some pending meetings with some other developers at across from Stanton Springs Parkway down there very soon. They're knocking on the door now. Multi-family developers. So we're having to, and I haven't made it, I'm making no secret of how I feel about that. So we need, if that happens, it's going to have to be extreme quality in terms of multifamily. And I'm not willing to say yes to that. So at this point, but I hope I answered your question without running away from it too much. But just know that particular corridor you mentioned is a priority for me in terms of very nice development.
Thank you. Mrs. Judy, that person he's referring to, Ms. Judy is our zoning director, so she is very, very involved in that, and there is a lot of interest in Stanton Springs, I would say that.
So I am gonna stand up because I can't see this part of the audience when I'm seated, so, I think that's a great question. One of the things that I wanna assure everybody in the county is that as we are moving forward with our strategic plan, our mantra is 1 Newton. So we're not going to show preference to one side of the county versus the other. We're gonna have those quality building standards throughout the county, so the entire, it's that statement where all ships rise. So we want to make sure that everybody throughout the county feels that we are looking out for everyone and that we're providing those quality development standards. We will be Miss Judy is working on county-wide building standards. Damon Mason is here, and he's the new District 2 representative, commissioner, and we have 2 overlays in the western side of the county. We have Salem and Almond, but we have communities all through the county that are not in those overlays, and they deserve those quality building standards as well. So we want to make sure that we leave here tonight remembering that we are 1 Newton, and that we're going to all rise together, and we're going to all look out for each other together.
That's right.
Man, I like that. Next. Yes, sir. I'd just like before we please state your name and address for the record.
Wait a minute, nobody else? Okay, Joe Malone, Cooper, combat veteran, Vietnam. Get back to transportation. I think we're almost inspired as far as the model, other than just transportation around Newton County. And then I want to ask about, because we're building a lot of roads, what have you, resurfacing, and over in District 1, between Sewer Road, Cooper Road on Hardy Circle. Over in that area, in the last 10 years, they paved some of the dirt roads over in that area. But between Cooper, Sewer on Hardy Circle, in the process of resurfacing that area, a couple miles at least, 2.5. Why is that being resurfaced when that was done in the last 10 years? And really, it was a pretty good condition. Been somewhat of that.
As far as the road paving, I'm not sure why they may have selected that particular portion. Right now, what we're moving from doing complete paving and patching so that when we go back and we'll begin paving in the spring. I'll try to find that out.
Complete resurfacing. They hadn't put the lines on, but it's completely resurfacing.
But it's completely redone. It could be that there were some failures on the road there, and our transportation engineer and public works department determined that the road was in bad enough condition that it needed to be resurfaced. We're also in the process now, working with Georgia Tech. They have developed a road grading system that is a mobile system. It is it's a type of trying to think of the ground penetrating radar, essentially, that hangs on the bottom of the vehicle. And this this instrument, they will ride all of the roads in the county, and also they've got this instrument that has the ability to scan curbing and sidewalks as well. They will ride the entire county and scan everything, and then produce a grading report to grade each of the roads in terms of the conditions of the road. And then what we will use that for, once a road falls below a certain grade, which is usually, I think GDOT uses 52, and I believe that's out of a possible 100 points, but I'm not absolutely positive on that. Once it reaches that point, then those roads would be scheduled to be resurfaced. So we're going to be using that. And why this particular road, as you said, has been resurfaced, I don't know, other than it could be that there's been failures in the base of the road, and just thought that it needed to be done, but I can find out for you. I'll be glad to do that. And in terms of, you mentioned MARTA. I don't know that we would necessarily ever be part of MARTA, but I do know when we first started having the discussions about transit system, one of the first things I looked at was having GRETA, which is the Georgia Regional Transit Authority, have a bus to come out here to our parking rides. And we also discussed looking at a bus that would go out to possibly the Walmart shopping center to pick up people who wanted to ride into town. And we were told by GRETA that they were not planning on extending their service beyond Conyers. Currently, if you go to this church, the Springfield Baptist Church, you'll see that there's a lot out there, a lot of cars parked there. GRETA serves there, and they're not, at this point, they are not going to be extending the bus route, at least until, I believe, I was told either 2020 or 2021, that they would consider it again, and that was a funding issue for them. But I do think that whenever we do establish any kind of a transit system, part of what we want to see is the connection to somehow get to either MARTA, to the MARTA station in Indian Creek, I think is the closest one, or to be able to get to a GRETA bus from here, so that you can make that connection to get downtown and to get to the other parts around Metro Atlanta. Currently, as you know, Gwinnett and Cobb and I think Clayton and several of the other counties around Metro Atlanta have their own systems, and they connect, and that's the idea that we would like to see. But first, we want to get this study done so that we know what we're looking at, and we've got to kind of crawl before we walk. So I kind of envision a small system to begin with small, 15 passenger buses, that kind of thing, and then it would grow. But it is important because of the fact that we know that it's difficult for seniors in particular to get around in a lot of cases, but also through the study that we've done and through the work on a strategic plan, we found out that we've got a lot of college-age kids who would like to go to school here at Georgia Piedmont or go to Georgia State over there that don't because they can't get there. They don't have transportation to get there. So that's a real issue when it comes to workforce readiness. So there's a lot of things that are playing in the process here. So we want to try to get some of those things answered.
Okay, that'll be good, but hopefully we can have a referendum as far as joining into MARTA, because these other counties are kind of failing as far as their transit system.
Yeah, I don't know about the process to have to do that, but certainly that is probably something that would be on the horizon, I would imagine. I think as time progresses, this is just me speaking, I'm saying this for the board or for Green County, but I think you'll see more regional approaches to issues like transportation, simply in transit, simply because our roads are crowded and people are looking for a better way to get from point A to point B. I live about 15 minutes from here, but I wouldn't mind if I could jump on the bus in front of my house and ride to work every day. So, but anyway, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Next. Yes, sir. Come on, y'all, get your questions ready. Now we got a little ways to go. Yes, sir.
Well, I wasn't sure when Legislator Nicholson, of Fairview Road, the west side of the county. I'm glad I came here tonight. The reason being I'm hearing some glorious planning, but I'm not sure I'm hearing anything about the west side of the county. I'm hearing about a police precinct. Whoopee. I'm hearing about development along this super magnificent 278 corridor. And I do not envy any development anywhere in the county. But if you have one county, you're going to have development. And the development may not be evenly distributed. There has to be some planning or some vision that says that's what our goal has to be. Because it can't be, I don't hear any time frames. I just hear, all the time frame I heard was 2021 for Gurney. I've heard nothing else. And I've have some, I wouldn't say misgivings, but have some, there's no good word to say, misgivings, apprehension, I don't know. But the idea here is this strategic planning report coming out in January. I don't see anything as a panacea, but somehow I get the impression that that's what this thing is being touted to be once it rolls out. I have no idea what is the support that different members of the commission already have for it. I have no idea what the City of Covington City Council have for it. And I say that because, like it or not, this kind doesn't move if the City of Covington doesn't go along with it. Reason being, there's so much clout centered in Covington. And again, in any county, the county seat is going to be the predominant source of power. But the idea here is we have a unique situation here in Newton County where we have a large population growing. And I think that large population growing is not where a lot of this attention is being placed. First, I think the distribution of electoral power, for want of a better word, does not seem to reside where the great majority of people reside. I don't know if the county has a view towards changing that, maybe 5, 10 years or however long, but it cannot just be ignored. It cannot be the west side of the county as being seen as, well, we got a police precinct, and we might get some transportation for folks. Because right now, someone mentioned rightfully, a lot of college students coming along, young kids coming along. It takes a while to get new people into an area assimilated such that they start feeling that they're home. And, you know, the west side of the county is competing against 150 or 200 years of the east side calling this place home. So we gotta understand that there's gonna be a whole lot of growing pains on the west side. And we cannot lose sight of that. Because we lose sight of that, we lose sight of people. And I hate to see that we do that any longer. And I'll stop right now. Thanks.
So, Mr. Gladstone and I have had these conversations a lot, and bottom line is he wants to see some action. And what I can tell you is that there are a couple of things that are in the works. We know, painfully so, that Salem Road is going to be widened. It is under the jurisdiction of the Georgia Department of Transportation. So we are at their mercy in terms of that money, but we are newly elected, when you are confirmed for your election on next Tuesday, Commissioner-elect Damon Mason and I will work very hard to make sure that we don't have any changes in the timeline for Salem Road. We also know that we have a project at the interstate exit 88, which is going to reroute that intersection. We've already had one business that's going to locate at that intersection or at that interchange. And I'm not at liberty to really discuss, but I've also been told that there are several more in the pipeline, and those are quality businesses that are going to be coming to the west side of the county. We have some more businesses that are going to be locating in the Walmart area that you'll all be very happy about. Very happy, but we just can't go down that path just yet. So we do understand that the west side of the county, that's where the population density is right now, and that's why I made the statement prior about that we want to look out for quality development throughout the county. We are one Newton. We don't leave anyone behind. We make sure that we're all working together. I think that in reference to your comment about representation, as the chairman referenced, we have a Newton County Tomorrow group. And that Newton County Tomorrow group is going to be the focus for bringing the city councils of all those cities and all the municipalities and the county commission and other leadership entities together so that we're working together and we don't lose sight of any one community, and we don't have one community that's more powerful than another. We're all in this together. And so that at that juncture, I'm going to turn it over to Commissioner Cowan, because Commissioner Cowan and I have been working together on the whole exit 88 all the way through Porterdale, and so I'll turn it over to him now.
Thank you. As far as east and west, we don't have that on the Board of Commissioners. So I know that sounds a lot out there in the community. You have the west side of the county, east side of the county. I represent majority of my districts, the eastern side, north side, and the south side, right through Covington. But the biggest problem we've got, and I've expressed this to Commissioner Schultz from the start, was the Allen Road interchange. We made a lot of progress, I think, on that, and we've got some state legislatures involved. People know about that issue. It's on the table. It's working. Thing with DOT, it just takes a while to get through that process, and but we are working on that. As far as your question as to districting representation, Mr. Nicholson, the districts that are set up, they're based on population. Some of the districts on the western side are actually smaller, but they represent the same number of people. I wish my district was smaller because mine and Stan have a lot of road to cover to talk to people. District 5 goes from the north end of Oxford all the way to below Boy Scout Road, goes over to Social Circle, and goes up beyond Oxford, and then through Covington, so it's a big district to cover. The districting was set up primarily based on service of the people in the area. So 5 commissioners is tough enough working with 5. I don't know if you want to add any more to it or not. But I think we have a real good group, and I appreciate the chairman for having a vision of one Newton, bringing the groups together. Working continually on our strategic plan. That may sound like a lot of mumbo jumbo, but I worked on this at the city of Covington. It's a good process, and it's going to be a good process for the county. So that's the best I can answer that question. Anything else?
Thank you, sir. Yes, ma'am.
Sarah Doty, and I had looked at county maps inadvertently through working through this election, so I know that District 1 contains about half of the county. And down where I live, nobody represents us. We're in a different congressional district than the other part of the county. We're in a different state house district than the other parts of the county. We are a food desert. We need, and it could be placed at 162 where it crosses 212. It could be placed where 212 crosses 36. A decent grocery. Now, I'm not so sure, I don't know whether or not you consider Dollar General an optimal grocery. But that's what we have down where I live. And people are walking to and from and using their SNAP cards and all that kind of thing. We need a good Kroger's or a good Aldi's, something like that in our area. Now, before John Douglas was retired from the Board of Commissions, he got it passed that there could be 10 acres of land included in a particular business. So with that, is anybody actually looking to find a grocery store for us down in my part of the county? I am tired of being ignored. Now, granted, we did get Campbell Road paved. Wow, that's good. Now those kids can speed like crazy down Campbell Road, and it is dark there. We need a light at the intersection of Campbell Road and 36 so that we don't run into the ditch on a foggy night? Can we do something about the southern tip of the county and quit ignoring it and acting like it doesn't exist?
Thank you, ma'am.
Well, the grocery store becomes a matter of supply and demand. I mean, the grocers come to the landowners and say, we've done a study, and we think we can be profitable right here. That's basically what that comes down to. And the commissioners, I'm sure, will be more than happy to accommodate any type of grocery chain that met our, meets our restrictions or meets our requirements. As for being ignored, I take exception to that. I'm down there quite a bit. I talk to people from that part of the county all the time, especially around the lake and down your way. I was down your way 2 weeks ago. Some people are, four-wheelers on the power line and terrorizing some neighborhood down there. And I talked to the sheriff's department, and we worked out some issues down there, and I think that's been minimized to the extent possible. So, and my phone line, 678-294-9166, anytime you want to call. It's there anytime you want to call.
Thank you, sir.
So, Sarah, I don't represent the First District, but what I can tell you, and I can tell everybody in this room, is that one of the funding requests that the chamber made was to add money in the FY 2019 budget for a retail study. And so the chamber is pursuing that retail study right now, and that does include everything from grocery stores to small business, retail, and they will have that data back to us so that the chamber can start recruiting in areas where they know that the needs exist and partner up the data with the developers or the retailers that they want to move to those areas.
Well, I think we're missing people who are potential customers, because if you happen to be in that area when people are going and coming from work, there's a whole stream of cars that goes on down 212 into Jasper County. And it's been a while since I've been down in Monticello, but they don't have much. And that if they put a good grocery store in either one of those cross sections that I mentioned, you could get potential customers that are going on down into Jasper County. They're not all going to be Newton County patrons. So that needs to be considered. I think that we need to be considering the ordinary people in the county and not the wealthy people in the county.
All right. Next, please.
I have a question. You just mentioned the study. Does that study also include alcohol sales in the county?
My understanding, we have alcohol sales throughout the county. We have our ordinance allows for alcohol sales.
Liquor stores.
Liquor stores.
Liquor stores.
Not
to say I'm not trying to follow up behind
I
food.
honestly don't know the answer to that question. I guess that's something that we need to find out. I know that it is a very in-depth retail study. We have somebody from the chamber. Can you tell us, Debbie?
It's very in-depth. I will say we had a retail study 5 years ago, and you won't want to hear this, we were oversaturated in grocery stores. My family owned grocery stores for over 40 years in this community, so and like Commissioner Edwards said, when you're recruiting businesses, you've got to fit in their box. You've got to have the rooftops and the traffic counts. Our Office of Economic Development works in this every day, and so it's something they're looking at, but if you don't fit in their box, they're not going to come.
What about liquor stores?
I don't know.
We'll find out.
I don't know whether it's Covington or we have to go to Conyers. Not saying I drink a lot of liquor, but if I want to buy liquor, I shouldn't have to travel outside. I should be able to come in my immediate area. survive, not go to Walnut Grove.
We'll find that out.
Thank you. Next, please. Yes, ma'am.
Since we have somebody here from the chamber.
Hey guys, we're gonna make sure we keep doing the protocol. Thank you.
I'm sorry, when I first moved out here, there wasn't that many fast food restaurants on 278. There is a lot now, you know. I would like to see some healthy choices, some sit-down family restaurants come up in this area. I don't know if that is included in your study or not. So I just thought I'd mention that since I came. I just thought I'd mention it.
Next, please. Anyone else? Anyone else? No more questions? Wow.